Remember, households provide the labor supply. Firms demand labor. So I'm going to use the example of education. If firms want highly skilled, highly trained, intellectually trained workers, but all you have to offer is a degree from a high school, well, your odds of finding employment are reduced significantly. And the odds that you'll be first fired when there's a recession increase significantly. Because you can't provide what firms really most value. All right, so structural unemployment, formal definition, occurs when there's a mismatch between labor supply and labor demand. That's the key intuition. And then it takes on different forms, like a technological displacement sort of occurrence, or education factors, or international competition factors, or, you know, there's even situations of discrimination, favoritism, or whatever you want to call it. So these are the less pure economic factors that sort of invade the labor market. Okay, finally, one last type of unemployment that we will cover is called seasonal. Seasonal. We are approaching true springtime, and then here in Jersey, that's always a harbinger for the coming summer months, vacation months. It's pretty obvious to us here in our state that the labor market down the Jersey Shore is different in June, July, August than it is at any other time of the year. So when an economist goes to those areas to measure unemployment, he has to take account of what time of the year it is, and actually figure out a sense of what's normal for that time of the year. And then when those factors are identified, and all the factors that create seasonal variations are identified, that plays into how the frictional calculation is worked out as well. Let me give you an example. This example is actually early in the book. Every May and June, college students, high school students finish up school, right, for the year, and start looking for jobs. So there is a substantial number of persons who begin to look for work, right? At the Bureau, when they do the survey, they can detect this, and they will actually see an increase in the number of persons searching for jobs. And since they don't have a job, then those entrants would actually kick up the rate of unemployment. But wait, unemployment as an indicator of recession, right? You'd be looking at statistics every May and June. You'd be making this conclusion: hey, we have a recession every May and June, and then it disappears in September. Well, that's an odd conclusion. When you know, common sense tells you that what's happening is there's some entrants coming in May and June, entrants into the workforce, and then persons that leave the workforce as they return to school. That seasonal variation has to be accounted for and then adjusted for in the frictional rate. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics is doing it every month. So that the typical job areas that are affected seasonally involve construction, especially here in the Northeast. Winter months, there's not as much work. And, it's just goes without saying. So an unemployed person in January is kind of different than an unemployed person in the construction business in June, July, August, September. Right? It's a more serious issue in June, July, September for obvious reasons. That's the big tough construction time, especially in the Northeast. So, again, that's accounted for. It's factored into the determination of the frictional rate. What's another one? I guess I should put B here. Retail. The big 3 months in retail are October, November, December, maybe till January 15th, giving you enough time to return your gifts. Big retail time. So there's more work available. According to this, if we were to take a straight statistics, if the Bureau of Labor Statistics was to take a straight statistic, they'd say, hey, unemployment goes down in October, November, or December. Oh, the economy's doing great. But when those workers are laid off in January and February, we're back into a recession. These seasonal variations, we want to kind of account for them, adjust for them, so that the frictional rate is consistent and meaningful. And if it actually goes up, we know there's a recession. We don't want the frictional rate influenced by these seasonal factors. What's another one? Well, I used the Jersey Shore example. So C, we'll say tourism. Summer tourism. Well, there are different seasons for tourism. A ski vacation is different than a summer vacation. At any rate, tourism is an industry that's seasonally influenced. Is there another one? Agriculture. Landscaping. Ski resorts. Whatever. I think you get the idea. This is a very, very easy sort of category. This is joblessness associated with various times of the year. Time of the year. Okay, so there's 4 types of unemployment. Frictional, cyclical, structural, and seasonal. Okay? And you want to get to know each. Now, in regard to these types of unemployment and how the unemployment rate is calculated and some of these details, I'm going to refer you to somewhere out on the internet. There's a site called about.com. You've probably heard of it. They have decent material on labor market issues, unemployment matters. And I'm going to send out a letter with links to sites and pages on about.com where you can get follow-up on these lessons. You'll get written supplementary material from what I've presented. And that's something you can hang your hat on for definitions and making sure you understand the concepts correctly. I don't have material in the book, in our textbook, on unemployment. Mostly because I didn't think I could write it any better than anybody else had. And there's so much stuff available on the internet. If you go to Wikipedia on unemployment to seek data and material on unemployment, it's pretty technical. It's pretty good stuff, but it's beyond what you really need. So what I've seen is about.com. It's more useful, more practical, more condensed. I'm going to send you a note. It's already been done. That is, it's already been composed. I'll send it out. Obviously, before the test, you can use the videos. You can use about.com. Get a full set of notes on unemployment. Then you'll be ready for the test. Right? Because it's the last topic on the test. All right, so I'm going to summarize about the test then. Take this opportunity. Look, there are about 10 topics on the test. We started with stock and flow. We went to the macro flow diagram. We did the National Income Accounting Framework material. Expenditures equals incomes. I equals S. I plus G equals S plus T. That was the third topic. That national income framework material just was a logical extension of what we did in the macro diagrams, in the macro flow diagrams. So that's 3. Then we did some economic statistics. We learned that consumption was the largest part of GDP, for instance. We learned that the services is the largest part of consumption. There's a 4th topic. You should be familiar with that. We took careful note of when the recessions were. 74, 75, 80, 82, 91, 2001, and the biggie in 2008. The good times, 60s, 80s, Star Wars, 90s, the internet boom, okay? You need to have a sense of that history. You don't need to know every growth rate for all those years that we covered in class, but you got to have a sense of the good times and the bad times. From that economic history material, right, we started a more thorough examination about how the statistics were actually composed or built. And that's when the pizza and beer work started. We had the pizza and beer economy. We had nominal GDP, real GDP. We're already in about 5 or 6 topics, depending how you count. We measured the growth rate. We have that formula. We measured inflation. We have that formula. So it was from learning those formulas that we began the more thorough examination of when the good years and bad years were. And then we kind of put that all together about the history, about the statistics of growth and inflation, and learn how to interpret it with aggregate supply and aggregate demand. So now we're at like 6 or 7 topics. You need to be able to recognize what the history indicates in terms of aggregate supply and aggregate demand. Doesn't mean an increase in aggregate demand, a decrease. Remember the depression period of the 1930s, that was a depression episode, box 4, fall in aggregate demand. The opposite is box 1, 60s, 80s, 90s, a rise in aggregate demand. The contemporary recession, 74, 75, 80, 82, etc. That's box 3, fall in aggregate supply. And then the Industrial Revolution episode, box 2. A pattern you don't tend to see anymore of deflation and growth occurring simultaneously or concurrently. At any rate, that's at least 7 topics, right? Investment, unemployment, 9 or 10 topics. I'm aiming for about 10 points per topic. That makes 100 points. I'll throw in a bonus. And you're set for test 2. I hope these videos help. I might, if I get time, do one more like appendix to this unemployment to try to tell you a little bit more about the survey and how the survey is conducted. I also have a handout on that. What the Bureau of Labor Statistics does is interesting. They're phoning out there every month 30, 40, 50,000 households. It's a big job. And all to try to get an accurate reading on the economy and the conditions of the labor market. So incidentally, I'll write that website, Spot, is that you scratching yourself? Yes, it is. Shake, shake, shake. www.BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov for all the everything you wanted to know about labor markets and unemployment, but we're afraid to ask. Okay, I hope this helps. When I see you in class, I'll be able to tell you more about whether I made that extra video on how they conduct the survey and anything else I may have left out. And then we'll cover all the bases. Okay, that's it. Thank you.